Hello, one and all, and welcome back to League of Europe Season 7. This is the 13th round of the Division 2 Championship, and it is coming to you from Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. We're into what is now effectively the last third of the season in this absolutely mad Division 2 campaign. Mad sometimes meaning the acronym Mutually Assured Destruction, but what is it, an extremely entertaining season nonetheless to run you through the action tonight. And always, it is myself, Daka, and alongside me in the commentary box, fresh off probably one of his most buzzing races in a while, so a very happy man alongside me here, QVR Verstappen. How you doing, mate?
Hello, and yeah, definitely I'm quite happy, as you could say. Welcome indeed to Division 2 once again, China. Very technical track, difficult one for mostly the wheel users. Don't like to bring up the argument, but it is a pad ABS track here. Yeah, it'll be thrilling to watch, definitely.
Yeah, it is, as I accidentally hit a button on my controller there. We're all good, though. Yeah, it is very technical, as you said. A lot of difficult traction zones, I think, is the name of the game at this circuit, which, again, maybe does lend itself to those two buzzwords, pad and ABS, but we'll try and keep those on the minimum as much as we can here tonight. The way things stand at the moment, of course, we've had a week break from the last race at the Cerebro Autodrome. So at the moment, Continentalist still holds a tight championship lead, but things have tightened up significantly. We had a Alfa Romeo 1-2 with Tymon and Larkin, and those guys have brought themselves right back in it. Tymon, 6 points off the championship lead. Larkin, 18 points. Both those guys within a race when could take the championship lead tonight. So while Continentalist, despite not even coming close to winning a race this season, has been at 1 point dominant, but those Alfa Romeo, that 1-2, has all of a sudden really tightened things up. We've got a real nail biter heading into those final few rounds.
Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see if they can keep that momentum going. I'd expect them to. But we'll have to see. Maybe Continentalist does have an answer to it. We'll have to see. And obviously in behind there's a couple of guys that are still within a shout of it, not too close, but Gary, Kriko, and Nathan JB all within about 40 points of the first place of Continentalist. So they can definitely get up there, and anyone with a good streak can, to be honest, and that's how this whole season has been so far.
Yeah, but it has been those two Alfa Romeos that have been on form the last two races. Tymon with a total of 37 points, Larkin with 36 points, the championship leader Continentalist 6 points. That's how a commanding lead has turned into a very slender one heading into those final few rounds, and the almost error-free season of Continentalist has shown its cracks as well in those last few races, which has helped tighten things up. We now look, though, to the present and the 13th round. We are beginning to load ourselves in to the Chinese Grand Prix, so we'll see how things are going to unfold. We do have a first timer here, that is Tim1404. We'll just call him Tim for this event, so we'll see how he is able to get on. We get ourselves loaded into a very hazy Shanghai. Of course, in real life, we won't get into the Chinese pollution in cities, but I mean, probably quite a typical day in Shanghai, it must be said. But we'll see how things get on. But yeah, as we look to load into it, fairly overcast, so we'll see if that weather, which hasn't played much of a role this season, if it's going to have an impact. So now, though, they're going to get themselves set for qualifying, and we'll see about the threat of rain, but it does mean that if it is the case, they'll have to get going pretty sharpish.
I don't think we've got any rain coming. I see a lot of people opted for the mediums, and that's one thing to note here as well. We'll dive into it later, but the strategy around this track is definitely one that can be interesting. Varying tire types, the softs are usually very quick in qualifying, about 2-3 laps, and then they are basically not usable anymore. So the mediums and hards have good lifespan as well, so we'll have to see what people opt for. Here, Tymon is the first one out interactive.
Yeah, of course, one of those guys we've always got to be looking out for in qualifying, and on his day can put together a near perfect race. As we saw last time out at the Cerebro Autodrome, he was pretty much nigh on untouchable from lights to flag, essentially. We have actually seen Carmentalist has had a spin immediately coming out the pit lane, and I don't know if he's got a wheel issue because he's reset and he's just gone straight into the wall. He now tries to correct it, but I can see the wheel is just not quite straightened up. So I think Carmentalist here, our title leader, trying to wrestle that thing back, but it does look like he's having some sort of technical issue here in the Alpine.
Yeah, it definitely looks like his front wing is completely gone, so hopefully he can get that one sorted out. It'd be a shame if he couldn't get a good lap in or whatsoever. Going towards the end of the lap now, Kjorti Timon down the very long straight, and I think Carmentalist has just left the session. Let's hope that doesn't cause any proper issues. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Meanwhile, we can ride on board with Kjorti Timon just coming across the DRS zone and the line now to start his lap.
Yeah, Timon in, and the Alfa Romeo is over the line, heading up towards turn number 1 then. One of the longest corners you'll see anywhere in the world. Running out wide, a lot of different lines you can run here. Timon opting for that late apex turn 2, and now heading out then. Another tough traction zone out of 3 and 4. Keeps it together decently nicely, and up and away towards the end of the first sector. Up towards turn number 6, onto those brakes. We've seen Prime, who's gone out of the session. I think that's coming out that last corner then. It's actually fairly far down the pit straight. Maybe that's in the pit lane, actually. Not entirely sure. We'll keep an eye, though, on Timon as he continues his run through now, through that middle sector. Heading up towards turn number 9 now out of turn 10. Feathering that throttle then again. Those difficult traction zones can really come into it. Towards the end of the lap then. Third sector now. Getting himself onto the brakes. Runs it a little bit deep. Heading through turn 11. Sweeps it back on the line for turns 12 and 13. As early on the throttle as you can. Punching out of that second snail-shaped corner on the circuit then. And we see he gets a slight over Milo Sully in the Ferrari just out in front of him. And now he gets himself geared up for the hairpin. On the brakes as late as possible, try and get it stopped and turned in, does that nicely. Does Timon in. Through 14, the kick of 50, now up towards the final turn at turn 16. Swinging in, use the curb on entry, bit hard over the curb on the entry, and actually validating on the way out, and that is going to bring an end to that flying lap.
Yeah, that's unfortunate to see. It's very easy to do that. Tim has just started out with a 32.2, Sedim's gone on a 31.8 on the softs. Slash 31.9 on the mediums is a very good time, actually. Keep an eye out on him.
Yeah, Slash, of course, typically going quite well in qualifying throughout his entire time and is very lengthy now at Division 2 Career XL. Larkin does go well at this track, does go fastest, 31.1. Forza Brendan just a few tenths of a second behind, and Jaco does just pep his former teammate then, 31 flat. So the early times beginning to establish themselves. Of course, we can expect some faster times, probably towards possibly those mid-30s later on in the session. But Jaco at the moment gets that early banker time. Of course, not many lap times on the board just yet out of everyone else. XL Gary is furthest along, but he is backed off on that flyer behind, I would believe, is one of the AlphaTauris that has just gone through there. That's that Scream, and the AlphaTauri gets it nicely through that hairpin up towards the final corner. We saw Timon go off here just a little while earlier. No such troubles for that Scream. Keeps it within track limits, and he does go fastest, 1:30.958. It is also worth noting on the subject of track limits, there are a couple of issues with the way that Codemasters have implemented them. So the stewards are having a look at turn 10 being the exit of that sort of double left-hander at the end of the middle sector. Turn 13 out of the second snail corner onto the main straight, and turn 16 being the final corner. So watch out for those. If the drivers are seen to be gaining an advantage by regularly extending, they will face punishment from the stewards. One thing that I do think we have to update you guys on is the situation with Carmentalist. We saw him not being able to set a time, backed out of the session after technical issues. And I think that we're having a bit of an issue trying to get him back in as well.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that. I think it'll be likely there'll be a restart. Seep goes quickest in the meantime, but I will have a restart after qualifying. So the qualifying will just be that order. And restart after that, and Carmentalist can join back to prevent also any sort of issues with the lobby occurring in between quality and race, which this game likes to do.
As it does tend to do. That is what we love and hate about the Codemasters F1 games. We'll see what the update is. We are, I imagine, both keeping a very close eye on the chat channel, see what comments list the league organizer has to say. But yeah, possibly we will just get this qualifying session done and dusted as per usual, and then yeah, just get a new lobby, get comments list, and have him start from the back. We'll see what we're going to be done, and yeah, comments list has suggested just that in the Division 2 chat in the League of Europe Discord. So that's what's going to happen. The qualifying then will resume as normal, and then we will get a lobby restart going on later on. So that's going to be the update. So we will have a bit of a delay between quali and the race, but for now we can just focus on this session the way it is then, without Carmentalist then, the championship leader. Opportunity for some of those guys chasing him. Timon and Larkin, both drivers that do like this track. They've got an opportunity here to try and get themselves right up the field, get themselves in a good position for the Grand Prix.
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to sort things out a little bit as well. A couple guys now on their out laps for the second time running, and a lot of guys just not set any laps at the moment.
Yeah, there has been a bit of a break in the session then. Matt Tebos will be next up though to kick off the second phase of this session. So only 11 times on the board right now. Sun's beginning to break through just a little bit. So Sabre the fastest time then, 1:30.8. Matt Tebos now coming through. Had a better run of form recently. Let's see what the Williams man can do over the line to get hopefully his first time lap on the boards.
Yeah, running down towards turn number 1, turning just at the 50-meter board and fly it in. Keep it a slightly tight line to maximize the time gain there, and now through towards the left-handed double left 3 and 4 on the traction, quite nicely done by Matt Tibbles, and down towards the King of 5, sector 1 split, and then turn 6, 24.0, decent time. Down towards first gear, up towards third to get the traction down quite nicely once again. Now through 7 and 8, can keep your foot planted, you just about lifts slightly there, keeps away quite a bit from the curb. Gets it nicely into turn 8, fourth gear, and now towards 9. This is a very heavy part for the tires, obviously. Long corners, and it's going to wear them out quite a bit throughout the lap. And you'll notice it down towards 11 and 12 as well. The tires will be quite on edge again. Keep it a bit tighter. Traction once again for 13, very difficult. And here's where you notice the front left almost screaming to get some sort of grip down, and towards the DRS now go. He'll be the overtaking opportunities in the race. We're not on that at the moment. Reaching speeds around 320 kilometers an hour, braking 100 meters, and getting it down towards first gear for the hairpin of 14 and the kink of 15. Now down towards the last corner of turn 16. Flick it in, get a lot of momentum there, a bit of oversteer. Hitting that curb there from Matt Tibbles. It goes into P5. Scruffy end of the lap, I think. The beginning of the lap looked very promising for him.
Yeah, could be more to find then for Matt Tebos. He goes 5th on the timesheets for the time being. So we'll see what the others do have. Tim then, the debutant, goes fastest, 1:30.7. Very strong lap at this stage in the session. So the AlphaTauri making a statement very early on here in Division 2, going to the top at this moment in time. We'll see what some of the other drivers can muster up on their second runs though. We do have a lot to come later on in this session. Furthest along the lap, I have seen a spinner further down the track. That does look like an AlphaTauri. It did look like Larkin actually. Actually, Timon, is going very slowly around the track. I think he's just letting some drivers through though. No, he is meant to be on a flying lap, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Tim, though, as I mentioned, is fastest at this current moment, so we'll see what he can do further down the road. But yeah, making that early impression, getting yourself to the top, very impressive. Forza Brendan does just improve, goes 5th, 1:31 flat as the time. Mercedes to the line. That's going to be Funky Chicken. Invalid will have another go at it. So drivers actually, surprisingly enough, struggling slightly to get those lap times in. Matt Tibos, we saw, he's just going to bail out to the pit lane. So the second run's still quite quiet right now. A lot of drivers, evidently, at a track where invalidations aren't really what you'd come to expect around this track. That Scream goes second and then Larkin goes first. So here come the times now, and XL Larkin goes to the top of the timesheets, 1:30.6. The time's starting to come down now, and Larkin goes fastest. The AlphaTauri's right up there though. Tim, you have to say, making an early impression and very strong there, P2 at the moment.
Definitely a very strong time so far. Gary went up into P5 there. And I think it's that Funky Chicken as Jaco just starting a lap. And JS is coming across. He was 2 tenths up, but just invalidated the final corner. He would have been up into P8, so that's unfortunate to see for him. And I think it's Seep who's just about invalidated as well. As a 30.8 would have got him just ahead of the screen, but unfortunately, again, that final corner catching so many people out. And that is very unfortunate to see. Nathan JB is coming across the line just about to start a lap, I think. The next one will be Funky Chicken coming through turn 14.
Funky Chicken then out the kick of 15 as well, heading up towards that final corner. Use the curb to open it up quite nicely then. Keeps it nicely within track limits as well. Crosses the line, and not a particularly amazing lap though. Goes 12th, but at least he does have something on the board to show for his efforts. Looks like that's the majority of those middle runs then pretty much done. Timon though is on one then in the Alfa Romeo, and he gets a nice little toe down the straight as well, so he's getting himself catapulted forward here. His teammate Larkin currently at the top of the timesheets, and this is the first real test of Timon's pace. Let's see, but again just outside of track bounds. It's a 30.9 and a good but not great lap then, so Timon may be struggling slightly in this qualifying session, and for a man that has a great opportunity here to further dent the chances then. Bumpia goes fourth in the Ferrari, but Timon, 2 mistakes consecutively, the same mistake as Jaco goes second. So again, improvements across the board, and Timon then, championship contender, the pressure mounts and mounts, and he has to deliver at the end of this session now.
Yeah, this is not nice to not have a good time on the board, and you have to go into that last run completely flying into it, otherwise you're just not going to get yourself up to it. Nathan JB is coming across the final corner, hooks in quite nicely. DRS open, not too quick of a time though, goes into P13 with a 131.5. I think LOI Sully, he's on the mediums at the moment. It'll be interesting what he is trying to do. I don't think he'll get himself any higher than Slash will anyway. Looks fairly tidy there though for turn 14. And for the final corner, let's see what he can do. Across the line, LOI Sully, a 131.9, yeah, just ahead of Slash, about half a tenth ahead there.
Yeah, but that is a good sign. Slash himself actually on a flying lap, 8 tenths up to the middle sector, so he could definitely put himself up near the front of the order. So let's see, Slash comes up to the line, goes fastest, 1:30.6. So TDG Slash, again, showing that kind of carryover of pace from the mediums to the softs. He's made a nice little improvement, and he now tops this very competitive session. 10.5 covering that top 4, so Slash goes to the top. Larkin half a tenth behind. Larkin has already set out to his final run. Slash is going to be tight on time at best to getting another lap in, so he has that provisional pole at the moment, but getting another run in, it's going to be a close one then for Slash.
I think it'll be nearly impossible, to be honest, because he's going to reach the pits with about 2 minutes to go. Then he has to get back in and back out, so I don't think that he is going to be able to get another lap in, unfortunately for him.
So a big setback then for Slash, but he does have a provisional pole at the moment, so he does certainly have that going for him at this stage. Tim is on a lap at the moment then, so we're starting to get these last runs, and he gets a big slap of oversteer. Heading through turn number 10 though, he may have enough fuel for another run, but he is going to have to back out of that one. Zerba is just behind him on the track, slightly up throughout that first sector. Very calm and cautious then on those upshifts, making sure to preserve that traction through this middle sector, flicking it in to turn number 8. A lot of understeer then, waiting for that nose to dive in as best he can now towards turn number 9. Again, you're constantly managing that throttle pedal, balancing the right foot, gets on to the throttle again for the short burst out towards turn 11. Just 400ths up at the moment, and can he find more time at the end of the lap? You can see his teammate Gary up in front then, preparing to set that slipstream as they prepare themselves. Slash retires in the pit lead. He does not have enough time. Here comes the toe then from Gary. Zanima then will close up the distance. This is a pretty good toe. Well timed by Gary then. So Zanima getting a nice speed advantage down the straight. Nearly 330 kilometers an hour onto the brakes. Does he make the apex? Yes, he does comfortably in the Red Bull. So now gearing up towards that final turn. How much time has he found in that last sector? And misses the apex for the final corner. That's not going to do him any favours. Zanima to the line goes 10th. So in the end, I think that mistake at the end of the lap costing him 10th at the moment. And of course, as is customary, it's not as much of a disadvantage as we normally expect because of the restart. But Zanima will of course be hoping that he gets knocked down into his preferred and, let's be honest, standard alternate strategy.
Yeah, meanwhile, Axel Larkin is on lap and he's almost 2 tenths up, coming through the sector 2 split, and he still has QRT timing for a slipstream here, if that is timed well enough. Let's see, coming down. And he is definitely going to get a good slipstream here, I think. Both of them going down towards the hairpin, and this is going to help him massively. I don't know if he got one on the lap he did before. We'll have to see if he improves a lot. Braking 100 meters, nicely in the brakes. Down into second gear, slightly deep, but I don't think it's going to cost him too much there. And now onto the throttle once again. This is looking like a very, very good lap for Larkin. Across the line, the Alfa Romeo goes, and it's a 130.3.
Wow.
Very quick, and that is going to be almost unbeatable, you'd imagine.
Wow, the slipstream from Timon, and a storming lap as well from championship contender Axel Larkin. Propels himself nearly 3 tenths clear at the top. That is going to take some beating. Could have come from Sieben. The Sieben validates 3 tenths up, and what would the time have been? Would have been second, a 34. So that is a huge error from Sieben. He will be gutted with that one. No improvement then on the final runs. Excel Gary then has the favour returned to him from his teammate down the straight. The toes coming in here. Gary crosses the line, goes third. Good lap. 1:30.6 is the time. Zanima behind, bows out to the pit lane. He is done in this session. Matt Tibos then all on his own without the benefit of a slipstream down the straight, which has gained some drivers a couple of tenths of a second at least. Larkin, as I said, propelled to the top of the timesheets then earlier on. Matt Tibos coming up towards the line now, crosses, goes sixth. That's a solid lap with no slipstream then. 30.8 behind. It's going to be the AlphaTauri of that scream. He though remains with a valid lap in P number 7. It's a Mercedes then. It's Funky Chicken. Goes to the line 12th. 131.1 is the time for Bumpier next up. And the Ferrari uses a lot of the track all the way through. Just keeps it within the white line. Crosses, goes 7th. 130.8 minute improvement. Jaco comes through. No improvement in the end for the Mercedes then. Ben JS is behind on the track. And then it's the Alfa Romeo. Ben JS is 13th. Timon goes 3rd. Good late lap. Under pressure from Timon. And is it just going to be for Brendan the Irishman, or has he backed off that lap as well? Looks like he has as well. Sieb obviously is backed off after that last one. Nathan JB is just a 10 down. Can he find a little bit more? He spins it completely out of that final corner, and that is going to bring an end to this qualifying session. Commentalist no time, Prime no time. Larkin goes to the top then, and that lap, you said it was unbeatable, and it proved emphatically to be the case.
Yeah, almost 3 tenths ahead of Slash and his teammate Timon then, and that is just an astonishing lap. Even with the slipstream, which definitely has helped him, but still I think without it he would have gotten pole nonetheless.
Yeah, I think 3 tenths of a second? I think that's quite generous for the slipstream then. So all in all, we will get the new lobby set up anytime soon, so we'll make sure to verify these qualifying results. I'm sure the stream will be there for reference, so we'll get those sorted out, but we will just jump ship, I imagine, to a new lobby. I think first we can possibly run us through, although with all these people leaving, a bit difficult to keep track of, as we of course will move across the lobbies. So just a little update then. It is Larkin from Slash and Timon, as you said, nearly 3 tenths of a second. Very tight behind that then. Gary only 300ths off Slash, but in the end had to settle for 4th and the last spot in the second row. And it's Jekyll, Tim, a good debut in qualifying, P6. Then Matt Tibos, Bumpier, that's Screaming Sieb, rounding out the top 10. Then Forza Brendan, Zara, Funky Chicken, Ben JS, Nathan JB, Sully, who we didn't see a competitive time on the softs from, Prime and Carmentalist not getting laps in the end. So we will now shift across the lobbies and yeah, get that new lobby going. So I'm just going to hop across now. So you will unfortunately have a blue screen at the moment. Hopefully we can just get ourselves nicely slotted into that new lobby. So we should be transferring over now. And yeah, we can just get a lobby specifically set up for the race. And we can finally get this going.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope everyone can get in as soon as they can. And yeah, get this one going once again.
Yeah, certainly. So, I'm just personally getting myself set into the lobby now. It was a grid of 18. I don't know if we'll get anyone extra then. We're a bit later. This is taking me an awful long time to join in, so hopefully there's going to be no issues. I'm going to hold out for it, see if there's a miracle here, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Right, okay. If you could personally get me an invite, that'd be great.
Yep.
Okay, so that should hopefully get this going. I'm going to have to restart the game. So